How did the Cold War promote scientific and technology innovation? Has anyone got a thought on the answer to that question before we start? How did it promote, how did it help create invention, technology, scientific achievement? Does anyone have an idea before we start? Good, you got something to learn now. What kind of drills do we practice in class, in school? Fire drill. Lockdown drill. Tornado. There was one other on our list when I was in 6th grade, 5th grade elementary school, and that was a nuclear attack drill. And they would announce it over the PA, and we would all have to get under our desks, as if getting under your desk would protect you against a nuclear weapon. But they practiced that. I remember practicing my last one probably in the 6th grade.
Could we see it again? That was funny.
Duck and Cover was a program directed at whom? Who came up with an answer for this one? I hear the sound of crickets.
We're talking about turtles.
Who was the audience for this Duck and Cover cartoon?
The people.
The intended audience. Let's put school children in that block. For number 1, school children were the target audience for the Duck and Cover. During this period, Great Britain, China, and France also started what kind of programs of their own? Nuclear programs of their own. There were a lot of people getting into the game here. A lot of people getting into the nuclear weapons development game. Number 4, the blank was the first country to send a man into space. Soviet Union, yes, they beat us into space.
I told you, Mr. Freeman, I'm writing a Sharpie. I can't erase.
You might imagine that the Soviets sending a man into space might have scared us a little bit, giving us the impression that we are behind in the space race. And we were. Number 5, the blank was the first country to launch a woman into space and also the first to complete a manned space walk. Soviet Union, thank you. Again, another milestone for the Soviet Union, another first for the Soviet Union. Oh my gosh, are we getting scared? We're getting a little anxious in the United States. Number 6, finally, the United States accomplishes a first. Number 6, won the space race by accomplishing what in 1969, Giles? Tsar Bomba was, that was Soviet Union's biggest bomb. Tsar Bomba. Tsar Bomba. But what did we accomplish in 1969? Does anyone know? Man on the moon. Man on the moon. So in our search to build a bomb, we may have accidentally discovered technologies that we could use in other areas. Okay, so we're going to learn a little bit about those other areas perhaps. I would like you to flip your sheet over. There's a checklist, numbered 1 through 50 at the top. 1 through 50 at the top. I only need for you right now to put a check mark next to a technology that you will see at each station. You're guessing, more or less, about a technology that's on the list at each station. You're guessing as to whether that technology was discovered or invented as a result of Cold War research, or if it was invented before the Cold War, or maybe after the Cold War. But you specifically are looking for what of these inventions around the room were invented as a result of Cold War research. Okay? And that's all you're doing right now. What questions do you have before I give you the next instruction? Everybody understands what you're doing. You're just putting a check mark on a sheet of paper next to a technology. Everybody understands? All right, I'll make this simple. There are 5 groups and there are 5 stations. This group, and I'm going to rotate you from one station to the next about every minute, minute and a half. As you finish, you may have a seat. Some of these technologies you might not have guessed were Cold War research. And honestly, the Cold War scientists that were doing the research did not intend on creating these things in many cases, like silly putty. It was something that, silly putty was a result of research on another thing, and then the scientists said, you know, this is kind of fun. I wonder if there's any money-making potential in this. And so he started a company that made a lot of money on silly putty. It was something that was fun for kids at the time. You may not find it too much fun now. There are other things that are more attractive to you. But at the time, a slinky, silly putty, a frisbee was something that was an offshoot of trying to find a bigger weapon, a better weapon, a missile that flew further, some sort of weapons technology that we were spending a lot of money on. And these things oftentimes, and this is true in science, even today, many of our discoveries are done by accident. And it's just a matter of, okay, this accident, what kind of application can I make with this accidental discovery? Question number 2. I want you to brainstorm as many reasons as you can think of as to why Cold War led to many scientific and technology innovations. And I'm going to take your responses up here. I'm going to take your responses up here. Do you think investment of a lot of money may have made a difference? Of course it did. What do you think students were encouraged to study in school during this period of time? What kind of courses were students encouraged? Science. Thank you. Science, mathematics. Fear is a great motivator. Fear makes people do things that they would not sometimes otherwise do. And we were fearful of falling behind and being dominated or taken over by the Soviet Union. That's why I was under my desk every time they made an announcement in school. Every time they made an announcement in school, everybody took it seriously. It now stopped. The war production now stopped, at least in the numbers that we needed. Planes, tanks, all of that stopped. So these businesses were now stuck. Oh my gosh, how are we going to continue making money now? So one answer was number 4. Let's funnel all of this effort into peacetime production and applications of this wartime technology. And this is how many businesses survived. In other words, if the Cold War didn't happen, would we have discovered as many things as we ended up discovering? Do you think? Is your opinion?
Yes.
You think so?
Probably not.
We probably would have invested less money in research. We would have probably been less fearful and less interested in new inventions. That's a possibility. That's my guess anyway. Probably not. So in one sense, the Cold War was a good thing. It promoted a lot of scientific and technology development. Okay, there's one last thing that I want to show you. This was something that I was involved with in the Cold War, during the Cold War. This is a technology that really shows you why the Cold War was a competition rather than a battlefield exercise. This has to do with submarine technology and the mission to locate Soviet submarines and keep a track on them during the Cold War around the world all the time, 24 hours a day. And this is my old squadron when I was in the Navy. I know these individuals. I flew these missions myself 20 or 30 years ago.